or 72 layups in 2 minutes. It's a great drill just to throw in, especially when you're beginning of the season. We do this a lot at the beginning of practice. As we get to like the middle of the season, we do it in the middle of practice, and then we get toward the end, we might do it at the end. So we kind of throw it in when we think we want to really emphasize a certain part of the game. But basically, you've got 4 balls. So guys, the 1 and the 2 here start with the ball on both ends, and we blow the whistle. We've got the time up on the clock. It does take 2 coaches. It's too hard to count by yourself. So it does take 2 coaches to be able to count these, but I'll stand on one end and another coach will stand down on the other end. There we go. Now I got my pen out here. So the coaches will stand down here and we just count the layups that are made. But basically it's a speed dribble all the way down and then they're finishing. The next guy in line is getting ready to grab it and he's going to go. So we see here the 3 and the 4 on both sides are going to get it. They do it for 2 minutes continuously. There isn't a ton of decision making in this, and I know there's a huge push right now. Everything's got to be with decision making, but this is a conditioning drill that we can use that goes to that lactic acid stuff I was talking about before. Is they only get about maybe 7 or 8 seconds to rest, and they've got to sprint again, and they're getting up and down the floor, I don't know, 8-10 times at least. In this, depends how many players you have. When I have teams that only have 10 kids, they're getting up down a lot. We had 14 this year, so they get a little bit more of a break. But that drill right there is a great drill if you want to emphasize conditioning, if you want to finishing under pressure, because they hear you call it out. You know, they'll know that there's 15 seconds left and you're at 66 and they're not going to make it. And then they push a little bit harder, that kind of thing. So there is a little bit of pressure in that regard. Here's one that we use for warm-ups primarily. It's really a layup drill, but it forces the players to run the floor more. And here's how it works. Is you have these 2 players are partners. One is going to dribble in and shoot the layup with two rebounding it, which seems, you know, pretty normal. Where it switches a little bit is one then has to run up ahead of the 2 to get that outlet pass. So he's got to not only make it, but they've got to transition into getting down the floor. They've got to, you know, have a little pep in their step to get ahead of 2 for an outlet. And then the 2 switching over here. So one's got the ball now. The 2 has to sprint ahead. And we tell them, you've got to get ahead of the ball by the time you hit half court. So the 2 rebounds it, outlet pass, then they've got to sprint to get the ball back so the 2 can be the shooter down here. So it's not one of those jogging layup lines where just everybody's kind of going through the motions kind of thing. When they have to actually sprint ahead of each other, this is 2 or 3, 4 hard steps right there. This guy's taken 6 or 7, 8 hard steps to get ahead of them. And so that adds into our conditioning. We'll put a time limit on this sometimes, or we will go to a certain number of makes that they have to have. But what we tend to do is you got to do a regular layup off, you know, right hand, you know, with your right foot with your left hand kind of thing. And then we say, now you got to go off your inside foot with your inside hand, your inside foot with your outside hand. You got to do a reverse layup. So we'll pick 4 different layups that they got to finish these on. Every time they miss a layup, there might be a consequence. It might be like, we're going to add, you know, 2 push-ups for every miss that you have. Something so there's just a little bit of, we're holding them accountable there. And at the varsity level, we don't have too many misses, but if they start missing them, they know that there's a consequence there for it. So, and if I go through these too quickly, let me know. But that's kind of a warm-up drill that we do, gets guys going. This drill is a little bit harder to explain. I wish I had a video on this one. The players really like doing this drill. So we add it in there. But basically what you do with it is you're going to set up a cone, 2 cones here. They're at the same spot on both ends of the floor. There, we start, our 1 has the ball. You're going to make an outlet pass to the 3-man here. The 3 really has 1 dribble. It shouldn't take any, but sometimes in the beginning it takes them a dribble. And you see over here that the 2 is sprinting at the same time. So as soon as 1 starts this drill, the 3 and the 2 are both going the exact same time. The 2 has got to get down here and around this cone so that they can get a pass. So this, we always want our kids to pass ahead and to push the pace of the game. So this is similar to like a 3-man weave almost, except for there's only 2 passes and we get a layup. Where it becomes kind of interesting is that player who is down here waiting for the layup. So our 4 was down here waiting for that finish. He's going to get it, and then he's going to kick it out right away. The 3-man who made the pass for the layup is now our sprinter. He's got to sprint around the cone, and he's got to make it all the way down around this cone and get in a position for the outlet pass to be passed up. Not a very good arrow there. As they get going, they really start flying. The ball gets moving up and down the floor really fast. They get moving extremely quickly. But the biggest thing to remember is if you threw the pass to the layup, you're the guy who's going through, and you're going to now receive the layup. You're going to make the layup down on the other end. Again, I wish I had a video of that to show you. It might be worth, coming back and taking a look at the video to see it again. But this is a great drill, and it goes through more reps of it right here as well. Kind of gives you just another look at it. All right, I've talked about these in past clinics. Our idea of up-tempo is these last drills were speed dribbles. A lot of them, we talk back here, it's dribbling, it's sprinting ahead. Now we're sprinting ahead looking for the pass. The very first one we talked about was just a speed dribble. So we're using different parts of what we want. Sometimes you'll be able to speed dribble it up. Sometimes you're going to have to pass the ball ahead. Sometimes it'll take the extra pass. So we're kind of doing these, layering these, so players are getting their different skills in.